to everyone, my name is Frozen or in-game Clam or 3102, whatever. Today I'm going to be making a guide tip video for beginners, maybe I'll do a second video for advanced combat, let's say, because I want to go just through the basic stuff in here, not so complicated things. Like I'm going to go through settings, talents, heroes, what you can use, what you cannot, and I'm probably going to paste a timeline, and on the beginning of the timeline there's probably going to be only a text that you can just see if you don't want to listen to me, because some stuff might get a little bit longer than what I expected or wanted, and I also don't want to make the video too long, and some people just might want to go to a certain topic and just see what they want instead of like listening, let's say 30 minutes to a minute random stuff. Okay, that's basically it, the introduction. Everything else is going to be time-lapsed, so you can see it right. Okay, we're going to start with the settings. It's a bit simple, very quick. I put this on 82 because sometimes I have problem when I put it on higher, I don't know why. I use AMD processor and video card. And basically everything is off. Settings are here are low. The only thing you need is effect and anti-aliasing, in my opinion. For the audio, this is my audio. It depends on your headset, the volume you're using, and etc. Also for the voice of the heroes you're just picking up. But what you want to focus on here is all SFX, character and combat. These are the stats you need. Everything else sort of you can put it on 0 if you want to focus only on the steps, fighting, things you need here. For the in-game, a lot of this is by default. You can change this second click on your mouse to be manual, because sometimes you may just want to grab something, not a person, because of the auto aim. Mainly aim should be on auto as well. You can play with this one. There's 3 options, whatever you like. I'm fine with this one. And everything is sort of like on top. And one thing you should have on, I think by default this is off. Scrolling with the mouse to switch the weapons. For the assist settings, like you can turn this on for beginner, but a lot of times if you're playing trios, you want to get a little bit more from some stuff, so that's why mine is off. But yeah, like you can basically pick up a limited amount of items with this. Over here everything's on, and the only thing that you off is public chat. You don't want that. The key bindings, it's like depending on your playstyle, but this is how I'm using them. I crunch with caps lock. Some people crunch with C or with the control. This is based on your mouse. And I don't have control, so no, I can't speak about that. Okay, now we're going to go through the talents. It's pretty simple. Like there's basically 2-3 builds you can go for. This here you have 2 choices. You're going rather cooldown, is this, and you're going for grappling distance, which is this. When I go to the heroes, at the beginning I'm going to explain which hero what. Over here you're going for energy cap. This is for your dodging. If you're going for rage build, you can add this. I personally don't like adding this for the rage build. And over here you have 2 choices. You're going for energy, that's for dodging, or I like to add one for grappling speed, the 2%, sort of helps me. And if you're going for the rage build, you're picking rather full damage taken, full damage dealt, or you're like splitting them in half. And in here you're going for energy again, which is dodging, or you're just gonna go for rage build, which is this thing. You're going full. Well, what you need to notice about this is if you go full rage build, your teammate should be full rage build as well, so you can sort of have your ults at the same time to combine them depending on your heroes. Okay, let's go through heroes now. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna go really quick which heroes should be cooldown build for me. It's Viper 9, it's Kurumi, it's Yoto if you're using F1, same goes for Valda, for Takeda as well. And every other hero should be grappling distance. Oh, also Temulch should be, if you go for this one, like a lot of people go for this stuff. I'm not going to explain what the skills do, because you can see it on your own. I'm just saying you what should be best. Like this auto aim, this reflecting, and this based on your aim, and the cooldown is much less. So yeah, you're going for that one. Best heroes you can use for those, I would say, it's Temulch, Matari, Tarka, Yoto, currently, Valda, Wuchen, Justina, and Takeda. Currently, I cannot somewhere on the screen over here a tier list, in my opinion, which ones are best from what I explained right now. You're probably going to see it over here on the site, or on the heroes I'm going to put it. It doesn't matter. For trios, Kurumi, Tianhai, or Yueshan are a main build that a lot of people do, but now since Yoto's ultimate isn't useless with the current patch, a lot of people are using her, but from all the heroes you can combine everyone but Matari, Tarka, and Takeda is good to have in trios, and although these heroes are fine to be in trios as well. I'm not gonna go through the how you can combine, let's say, Valda suit and the monk ults, he can grab them, or Justina is stunning them with the code, or Viper is stunning them and the monk can grab them, or when they're stunned they can get hit by Yoto. Like, we won't go through that because it's going to be too long. If it's needed, I can do a separate video for that, like how you can combine your ultimates and combos. I'm just gonna have to ask my team to lose a couple of hours so we can get all the ults shown up, how they work. As for the skills right now, we're going to start with Viper and so on. You're going for F2, ultimate you're going V1, and if you're playing Souls, you can switch to V3. Produce and Produce is the same thing. Temulch, you're going for F1, and for V3, that ones are pretty shitty, because if you go inside over here, it's going to restore F 2 times. It's really nice. Matari, if you're playing Souls, you can rather choose F1 or F3. I personally prefer F3 because it's a little bit more safer sometimes if you want to do a reset, because they may chase you and you're going to go back on your spot. And for the ultimate, you're going through the third one, because sometimes you're using it to escape, but a lot of times you may use it to like deal a little bit of damage. Tarka, something I won't be showing you, it's infinite combo. It's cringe, don't do it, it's stupid, a lot of people do it, it should not exist in the game. This is what I have to say for it. As for the skills, you rather go F1, or if you're more of attacker type, you can go for F3, because this is like a defensive skill and you can like start a combo from it. With this one, it's sort of like a bonus damage you can do, and sometimes stop somebody if he's grabbing you. And for the ultimate, if you're using the fireballs, you can use the V2 and you're going to have 6 or 7 shots. I'm not sure about it, didn't test it, sorry about that. But it's useful in truth, in my opinion. In Souls, if you're the guy who's doing infinite and stuff like that, you're probably going to go for the third one or the first one. It's your choice. Kurumi, she's going F1 and she's going V2. The only time you're going V1 is if you have Monk and Yueshan in a team, because it's easier to hit the Monk, because the Monk is probably going to be a target. Tianhai, you're going for the first bell because you can use it when you're under attack, so that's going to save him, and you're using V1 because it doesn't have weak points, and this one have weak points. With this one you can grab your teammates, which can screw you up sometimes, and the third one heals you, but that's not very useful when you're going to have a weak point and a lot of people are going to target you. Yoto, if you're playing Souls, you're going for F1, V3 always, and you can go for F3 depending on your team. If you're a little bit more for defensive, go for F3 in trios and duos. But in Souls, you always go for F1, unless you want to be really defensive over there. For Valda, you're always going V1 with ultimate, and as for the skills, I go with F1 because it's easier and better for combos, I would say. And if you go for F3, you can basically escape from parries and stuff like that, which is helpful, but in my opinion, it's like, if you want to do combos in Soul, it's a little bit harder. You're probably going to see it in the second video that I'm showing that combo. For Yueshan, if you're doing Souls, you should go for the second F skill, because it's easier and better to do combos with it. Basically, nothing else. If you're doing duos and trios, you should go with the first one. You can also go with the first one in Souls, but it just helps you stop somebody if you got parried not to get hit, or stop a focus stack, and etc. For the ultimates, you're going with the first one. If you want, it stabs you and you're doing quite a bit of damage. It's useful for Souls. For trios, I personally prefer to use V3 because it is going to give you immunity effect with his F over there. So it's more helpful for trios in my opinion. For Wuchen, in Souls, you can go for the first one if you have good aim. If you don't, it kinda sucks. And a lot of people just go for F3 regardless if they're playing duos or trios. If you're playing duo or trios, you can go for V2. But in my opinion, if you want to do combos, like you can Viper can ult and you can use the V1. You can teleport to the enemy. They're going to get stunned. Your whole team is going to be there, you're probably going to kill them. It's pretty simple and just like timing thing. So in my opinion, for trios, go for V1. Regardless, that V2 is overall good. For Justina, you're always going F1. These ones are very useful, like this is going to help your teammate, but not so much usually. And this one you can use under attack, but that's not going to help you. Usually when you have this, you're going to be able to dodge and sort of reset because you're going to have your armor back. If you have epic armor, purple one. And for the ultimate, if you're doing Souls, I would suggest this ultimate, the V1. You should notice that if somebody's using a focus stack, they won't get freezed at that time. Just mind that. In trios, you can use this because it's more useful and you can sort of combine with your teammates. You also can go for the second ultimate. It's sort of a matter of choice, but it is what it is. For Takeda, for the new hero, we still don't have anything for these ones, for third ultimate and skill, so maybe I'm going to add it in the description when it comes out. And basically, first, it can only help you if you get frozen, somebody decides to use a focus stack, or you get stunned, like you can grab their weapon if they use focus, but that usually won't happen. So you're basically going for F2 because it's going to extend your combos. You're going to see it in the second video. As I already said in the first video, I'm probably not going to show you this because I'm just going to go through the basic with every weapon you can do. Like, I'm going to show 2 basic combos you can do with them, regardless of the hero you're playing. Like, I'm not going to add skills and stuff like that. As for the ultimate, you can use the V2 when you're playing duos or trios. It's really good to combine this in duos with Yoto. You can kick him out, then Yoto is ulting and the other team is probably dead. And if you're doing Souls, you should always go for V1. In the second video, you're going to see the combo you can do with it. Quite a bit of damage. And that's basically it. Now we're going to go into the training room, So I can show you the Souljades, what you need in your bag, and simple movement and a little bit of a combat. Okay, so basically for your inventory, this is how it should look. You should have 4 Vitalias, you should have 10 armor powder, you should have 24 grappling hooks and 2 repair kits, usually. If you have Souljade for range weapons, like golden Souljades for your weapon, and you have like purple golden weapon, it's good to maybe lose one of the grapples or one of the armor powders and get a little bit more repair kits. It's just a matter of choice, to be honest, and it also depends if you're playing souls, duels, and trios, and etc. But yeah, this is how your inventory should be looking at, regardless what you're playing. As for the Souljades, these are the basic ones. We don't have the purple and the gold anymore. I want to lower up a little bit the volume from the chest, sorry about that. Basically we have only the blue one, which are the rare ones. What I am usually doing is, if I don't have any other Souljades, I'll go to attack, to melee, and to range. And if you're playing, let's say, a defensive type of hero, you're going to go for 3 range and 3 melee usually. And if you're more of an attacker type of hero, like perhaps if you're playing monk and Yueshan, you should have melee and range defense. If you don't have any other Souljades, if you only have the starter Souljades. As for the special ones, you can get repair kit if you have again good Souljades for range weapons, so you can repair fast. Skyforce is always good to have. I won't go through what they do, because this repairs your armor. This requires like 60% of your HP when you die, so you won't be dead. As for the other Souljades, you can get the desperation, because if you start using HP, you can hit quite a bit more damage. As for these 2 Souljades, if you get this one, it's the alchemy, it's much more useful, because you can get fruits and stuff, and the kills it doesn't do that much, because you might get only 2 kills, let's say, so that's not really helpful. As for the tuna, it's nice to have. Mood boot, I'm not fan of it. Focus light, I'm going to show you, like, it's not a combo, but something you can do it. Wave roll is always good to have, regardless what you're playing. Advanced heal as well. Group heal if you're playing trios. In duos, I won't suggest it. Gakefoot, don't like it. Soft step, it can be useful if your teammates died in trios and you don't want to make noise. Phantom step is good to have regardless. It can save you sometimes from ultimates. And the other ones I don't really like. And for the newest one, the Starfall, it's quite a buggy Souljade, so don't quite really want to use it. Now for the range Souljades, if you have this, I'm going to show you. It's basically a switch system you can have with all the range weapons. I'm going to show it in a little bit. But basically, if you have bow, these are good Souljades to have. Burst Tower and Scatter Shot. I don't really like the target lock and fire arrow. They don't really help a lot. For crossbow, I don't really find any of these helpful, because a lot of times you probably won't get hit multiple times with the crossbow, and it's not gonna do much. If for the flamethrower, for cannon, excuse me, it's good to have everything, regardless from if you have flame breath or not. It's good to have, but if you can choose to get all of this and not get this, do it, because this is the most useless from cannon Souljades. This is so good for the pistol, and for the musket also this good. Mind that with some of this you're going to shoot slower, so you must have quite a good aim with the musket, but it's rather very good. For the melee Souljades, I'm going to show you in the second video a little bit more advanced combo with this stuff. You can add with some heroes, or as you're just playing. As for the normal Souljades for the katana, it's good to have. if you have a stop Souljade, it's good to have that for every weapon. The only weapon you don't want to have it is for spear, because you won't be able to do the rush, which I'm going to show you probably in this video, because it's pretty simple to do. As for the greatsword, I would say all of this is good, but if you want to choose, I would say just get the stop. These are not so important to have. It's like not necessary, but if you can find one of them, you can use them. For the longsword, all of this is good because it's going to help you do a little bit more damage and stuff like that. It's useful to have it. As for the spear, in my opinion, none of this is useful. So if you go for spear, go only for the legendary, the gold Souljades. For dagger, everything's useful. Like, you can do so much damage and you probably won't even get parried. Like, it's really good to have everything for the dagger if you can, and if you're maining dagger, which it's a little bit sad for you if you do. For the nunchucks, this Souljade is branded, like these two as well. For the dagger, I don't know why they exist, but for the nunchucks, only velocity and tilt is good to have. The other ones, in my opinion, not so much. The stop, again, you can have it, because the flank click, you're probably going to miss it. Trigger, same thing. Assault, you're basically, when you have it and you grab an enemy and you click L and B, it puts burn on them. So yeah, that's for that Souljade, it's good to have. Now we are going to go through the basic movement. Like, if you tap shift, you're just gonna go in sprint mode. The other thing you can do is, if you have longsword, you're in sprint mode already, you click L and B, you dodge. L and B, dodge. L and B, dodge. For the other weapons, it's you start using focus stack and you dodge. Focus stack and you dodge. The next thing you can do is, when you're in a sprint, you're crunching and jumping. Crunching, jumping. And you should get better, you're going to start doing it faster and faster. And you can combine it, let's say you dodge twice, 3 times, you crunch, jump a little bit. That's your basic movement. If you have dagger, you can also do this. You're just spamming L and B, R and B, and B, R and B, and you're dodging, and when it's over, you start moving. You can also just do M and B, but this is a little bit slower. Like, if you go for M and B, R and B, a little bit faster. And for the GS, if you have a GS, you're in sprint mode, crunch, jump, and you complete. Like, crunch, jump. So you're in sprint, crunch, LMB, crunch, LMB, sprint, crunch, and repeat. Another thing you can do is, when you grab something at the end, press LMB, you're going to move a little bit more. Another thing you can do is, when you're on tree, hold for a little bit, get the blue, or if you're just on a wall, you're hanging over here, click LMB, you're going to dodge, regardless of what weapon you're using. Next thing you can do is, I'm gonna jump from the other side, just so I see it better. It works very good for GS. When you're in the air, you're dodging, jump, LMB, and you repeat that. You just need to have enough height to do it. So when you're in the air, you click LMB, dodge, jump, LMB, dodge, jump, and you repeat until your energy runs out. Because let's say you're jumping out from the temple, you're going to have plenty of time. You can do the same thing with the katana. I'm not going to waste the time to show you that, because the video already is too long. Now what you can do with this rolling Souljade is, when you start to run, when you just spam it. You just spam, and it's not going to use energy. I got a message that I'm spamming in key, and that's why I stopped using it. Sorry about that. Could not close it on time. Now if you have this Souljade, we're just gonna start from the basic combos over here. If you have this Souljade, you're doing this around me. You can see when I'm in sprint and in crunch. So what you can do, if you have an enemy, you can just jump around them. and you can bully them like this. You just need to practice it. Because a lot of times they're still going to be on the ground. No. And you can do that, so it's good Souljade. As for the range Souljades, you can extend that in combos, but let's set the dummy over here. So basically you're hitting one time and you're switching with the scroll on your mouse and you switch the attacks. I'm going to show it for every weapon, how it looks. So you can sort of see the damage you can deal. And with the cannon, when it jumps, you can put TMB again. It's gonna hit a little bit more damage. Oops. This with the pistol. And finally with the musket. Basically they hit sort of the same damage. The biggest damage is from the crossbow, then it's from the bow. But this is more useful in my opinion if you're usually playing souls, because you probably won't have enough time to, as you're fighting, to switch to a pistol, let's say start dodging and shooting. I can show this in the other video with switching for a little bit more damage if you have a ranged weapon in you. As for the repair Souljade, it's good to have if you have ranged weapons, as I said. As for the looting part, it's pretty simple again how to do it. Like if there are trolls around you, you just you're clicking E around you, you're getting them. As you get 4, your top, you open your top, and you start clicking R&B on the items you don't need. You have more from them, because this is how much you start with. You don't have backup grades, you have 2 backup grades over here you can do. Same goes for the Souljades, you have only these ones, to open the other ones. And for the weapons, you have only one. Yeah, so it's pretty simple for the looting part. I believe I covered everything, basic stuff. And we're just gonna go into the combat now. I'll show you a couple of stuff, and that's it. Okay, so before we go for the basic combos you can do. Here's how you can stop your attacks. Like, if you're doing focus attack, you can jump and you can stop your attack. If you're doing focus attack, you can crunch and stop your attack again. And the good thing is that, let's say you're doing R&B, you jump, you can click L&B. Or you're doing L&B, you can crunch and do an uppercut. R&B. Or regardless, if you do focus attack, you can crunch and do L&B again. This is how you're stopping your attacks. And this also, if you're both doing focus attack, you and your enemy, if you're doing focus attack, you can jump and press R&B and L&B to parry. Parrying is when somebody's doing focus attack and they release, you can parry it. And if you have a quick key for binding it, you can just press it from mouse key 1. So I can just press it instead of the A&B plus R&B. You can also lock the R&B plus A&B. Sometimes you're doing A&B, R&B, and you can press these 2 buttons. Cancel your attack by mistake. In my opinion, the big button is much better than pressing A&B or R&B, because sometimes you may get confused a little bit. And the other way, you can cancel your attacks when you dodge, regardless if you're going to dodge front, if you dodge left or right, or backward, it doesn't matter. And also, it's in the video, but there's 2 types of dodging. One is normal dodge, and the other one is like top dodge, which is more than, like, it's almost half of the distance. Like, I'm pinging over here. This is where top dodge goes, and you usually do use top dodge. We're going to see in the other video for extend your combos. Because if you go so far back, you can see you cannot do top dodge. You don't know how. And if you do a top dodge, you see, you won't still do it. You need to top dodge, so, because the distance is too big. You're sort of stopping your dodge from extending when you press A1B or again or R&B, it doesn't matter, because you have auto melee assistance, so you're going to go back on the target. You can also use the top dodge like this, dodge enemies stuck, like let's say top stuck, because the katana doesn't have that big of range. Or if you do the top dodge, you can like try to parry. Sometimes you're going to have time for it. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so now we're going to go through the basic combat, because the video should be like, I hope, for maybe 25 minutes or 30 minutes, because there's quite a bit of stuff to cover. So basically you have two types of attack. You have AMB that you can hit once, and twice you're going to get this on the GS or above. You should not do that. Like, you should not hit twice with the GS or 3 times with any other weapons. On the other weapons you have 3 clicks on A1B or R&B that you can hit. So your basic combo should be this for beginners, because you can hit once, twice, crunch, one, twice. This is the basic thing you can do. Or with the GS you hit once, you crunch once, you crunch once, crunch, and etc. Now for a little bit more advanced combo you can do with the weapons. Again, is when you crunch, you do an uppercut, A&B, R&B on the GS. If you have, let's say, a longsword, you do A&B, second time, crunch, uppercut, R&B, A&B. It's pretty simple. And you can also do it with the other weapons. It's the same thing, but I'm gonna show it on the dagger, because it's a little bit different for the dagger. You hit him once, twice, uppercut, A1B twice, and then R&B. Or if he's still in there, you're going to do R&B, uppercut, A1B, R&B. You can do it like that as well if you don't want. For the spear, you should notice this, that usually if you hit him once and twice over here, he's going to probably have time to escape, to do one dodge. So if you start a combo with the spear, it should be R&B, uppercut, A1B, R&B, R&B again. This is your basic combo. You can do it. For the katana and the nunchucks, we're also going to do them. You're doing, let's say, A1B, R&B, uppercut, R&B, A1B. Next thing you can do is A1B, A1B again, R&B, A1B. It's a simple combo. Same goes for the nunchucks. You do A1B, let's say A1B again, crunch, R&B, A1B. Or you can do R&B, R&B, crunch, R&B, A1B. This is a basic thing you can do. Is for the outro. I hope the video was helpful. It wasn't too long, like about 35 minutes I believe, but I try to do it faster as I can. This was the fastest I could do. Second video is going to be probably around this time again, maybe even 40 minutes, because I'm going to go through all the combos with each hero. I may have to do like separate video for each hero if I want to do a combo like that, but I prefer to do it in one video because it's like more compact, and somebody's interested, he can just go on timelap and just click, let's say, for Viper or for Temulch or whatsoever. So yeah, as for Naraka, the game isn't doing that good in Europe and America, because like they're paying FPS players to promote the game instead of, let's say, MMO players who the game is for. It's a melee battle royale, like PvP type of. It's not a shooter game, so I don't know what they're doing with that. But just like my opinion on that, like, they should promote it to other people. But regardless, in China the game is doing pretty well. A problem you can have like pairing and stuff like that in the game is like there are a lot of people who are from China or either way from another region that yours. They have like higher ping, like between 120 to 200 plus ping, and it's much harder to parry them and etc. Or they're just going to walk on your screen, teleport or whatsoever. It gets a little bit annoying, but regardless, the game is fun. It's doing pretty good, I would say. It's still played. Just for tip you can do is like you should spend like a couple of hours as you get the game in the training room, learn a couple of stuff. Next thing you should do is play a couple of bot modes. Then you should go into quick games, and after like 2-3 days, then you should go for rank when you sort of got how the game works. When your fingers get used to doing these combos that I showed you, like easiest one, the normal ones that don't include you using your ultimates or skills on your current hero or doing some more advanced combo with the dodging and stuff like that. And I think I most likely covered everything. I'm not sure. I just hope the video was helpful for people, regardless that it's like too long, but basically all in one. That was my idea, to be as quick as possible. Saying is little piece like you don't need too much information, let's be honest, because with new players, like sometimes they go and oh, I cannot do this too hard, so it's very simple to start with the basics, and other things aren't that hard to learn. Like it takes a little bit of time for some people, but it's not that hard. The hardest time having the game is actually getting third party or not so much learning how to do combos, but reading your opponent, what they're going to do. That's the hard time you're going to have in the game. But regardless from that, I don't think there's anything more I should like say or do. So yeah, something that I would like Naraka to do is like cut a secondary map, because playing on one map is getting annoying, and they're just adding like small new things to the map, which that's not the point. If the map changes like every 2-3 hours to a second map, it's going to be way more fun. You can comment for that video if you think that's a good idea. Maybe they're going to do it after all. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope the video was helpful and see you later.